I am so incredibly excited to be back filming one of these sit-down videos. I feel like I haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. I did do some vlogs, which I really hope you enjoyed, but I'm happy to be back catching up with you face to face. And in order to celebrate this, I figured we have to do something special. So today I wanted to share with you my most recent Hermes purchases. It's going to be a really consciously curated Hermes haul. There isn't a single impulse purchase here. Every single piece I have selected for a reason. In fact, some of these pieces I have been waiting to get my hands on for about a year, just because I wanted to make sure that I get them in the right color and the right size. So without further ado, if you'd like to join me in unboxing the latest additions to my Hermes collection, and I can't believe I almost forgot, but I even have something to unbox from Goyard, which is a brand that I don't think I have ever really featured on my channel, so it's going to be a first. Then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. So what I think we should do is we should start with some of my more generic purchases, then we can take a break with Goyard, and then move on to talking about my first full winter 2023 pieces. How does that sound? I hope it sounds like a plan. So without further ado, let's dive straight in, and I'm going to start with this box because I actually remember what's in here. So this is a piece that was inspired by a recent video of mine. I did do a video talking about where to begin your Hermes collection if you're new to Hermes and you're overwhelmed by all the recommendations and all the different pieces out there. I was hoping that that video would help you kind of begin your journey and figure out what pieces to start with. But even if you're a seasoned Hermes collector and you already have all your bases covered, I still think that those are pieces that are worth looking into because they are genuinely things that I feel you could get your money's worth out of. But there was one piece in that video that I kept talking about, and I realized that I bought it once, but I quickly returned it, and I'll tell you exactly why that is. But it's not a piece that I actually owned, and the reason is that it took me quite a while to come around and realize why that piece could be beneficial to have in my collection, which is an iconic SLG from Hermes, and it is, let me quickly show you. Maybe I should have unboxed all these pieces before I actually sat down to film, just because you guys already know what Hermes's packaging looks like. But I just enjoy the process of opening these things with you. Let me know in the comment section if in the future you would prefer just show and tell kind of videos and not actually going through the entire unboxing process. But to me, it just wouldn't be the same. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's get back to this infamous piece, which the first piece I picked up is the iconic tarmac passport holder from Hermes, which is an incredibly simple concept. It is basically just this little pocket that fits nothing more but your passport. It comes in a ton of different colors and a ton of different leathers. The color that I went for is Vert Fizz, which is kind of like, it is obviously in the green family, but it is as subtle as you can get with green. It's almost somewhere between off-white and green. To me, it reminds me of kind of like an ice cream float. I don't know why that's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, what kind of ice cream would be green? Maybe mint ice cream. It's kind of like a minty ice cream float color. That's the first thing that came to mind, which I loved. Obviously, I could have gone for black, which is what I would normally do with other SLGs. But when it comes to a passport holder, I wanted to go for something a little bit more fun, something a little bit more playful. And this is a color that I really do enjoy. The other color that I had in mind that I was thinking about getting is Word Comic, which was a new color for spring summer, which I love. I wouldn't buy an entire bag in that color, but it's such a unique shade of green that I thought of potentially picking it up in that color, but my boutique didn't have it and it wasn't something that was available at the time, so I ended up getting this one, which is Vert Fizz, and I'm incredibly happy with this just because it's not a color that I would ever get in anything bigger, so it's fun to play around with different shades in smaller pieces, and it's also going to make it a lot easier for me to find my passport in a black bag if the cover isn't so dark. So this is the first piece that I picked up, which The reason it took me so long to get this is because I never really understood the concept. I used to always buy proper sort of passport sleeves that you slide your passport into and then you open them up as you would a book. But what I realized the more I traveled is that there's really no point having something that so closely adheres to your passport, because anytime you take out your passport to go through immigration or customs, they ask you to take your passport out of its case anyway, so there's no point trying to hassle your passport out of a cover like that. So I think it is going to be a lot easier having something that you can so seamlessly pull your passport out of and then just slide it back in case you have never seen these pieces before. They are the most simple design. It's basically one sheet of leather that is stitched around the edges, and then you have just this snap closure. They do come in a ton of different colors and leathers. As I mentioned, I went for Word Fizz in Epsom, which is just the best leather to go for when it comes to SLGs, in my humble opinion, because they're hard wearing, you don't have to worry about them too much, and these are pieces that are going to get beaten up. There's not much you can do about it, especially in such a light color, but because these pieces are not so insanely expensive, it won't break my heart if it won't look as new as it did when I first bought it. One thing that I would prefer, or I would appreciate, I should say, is if it had like maybe a single car slot on the inside. It doesn't. It is just a simple no frills piece, which makes sense. But if you're looking for a piece that you are going to be able to use on a regular basis, something that will genuinely make your life a lot easier, this is a great one to buy, and I could not be happier with this color, with this leather, and the fact that I bought it right before I'm leaving on a trip tomorrow morning. Let me get rid of the ribbon really quick, because this next piece I am as curious to see as you are. It's not something that I have seen in person before. It's something that I came across in one of the Hermes catalogs. So I asked my boutique for it the last time I was there, but they didn't have it. So I ended up getting 2 of them shipped to my house, one for myself and then one for a friend. And I cannot wait to open it because I have big plans for this piece. I can't believe it's something that I haven't seen before. Obviously, you know that I have been collecting my Hermes tableware for years now. It's taken me literal years to build up my collection, and the majority of my collection is in the platinum finish from the Hermes mosaic line. And this, believe it or not, is going to be my first mosaic piece in gold. I'm not sure if they do this particular piece in platinum. You would think they do, but we couldn't find it when I was there in the Hermes catalog. So I ended up going for this piece in gold, and it is beautiful. It's exactly what I was hoping for. So let me show you. This is a tiny bowl that I wanted to get to have on my nightstand, or even maybe my entryway, just to put things like my wallets, cards, keys. At night I could put things like my jewelry, my favorite lip balms in here, and I love the shape. I don't really know how you would use this for eating because it is technically part of the tableware line, but I thought it would work much better as an actual home decor piece. It's something that you could even put on your coffee table. So I wanted to show you this piece in case you haven't seen it before, because I don't think it's something that Hermes really heavily promotes. I mean, it's not like they're big on promoting anything, but it's not something that I have ever really seen around. So if you are looking for a piece from the tableware collection that genuinely looks like something that you can use both in the kitchen, or maybe even more like something that was specifically designed as a decor piece, please do look into this. I don't believe that they do this in any other collections. I have only seen this in the mosaic collection, and personally only in gold. Not to say that they've never done this in platinum. It would be surprising if they hadn't, but this is the only piece that we were able to find, and they did have a few of these in stock, and I cannot wait to start using it because I do think it's such a special, not only color in my collection, considering that my home is quite cool toned, but it is also an incredibly unique shape. I have to say it's exactly what I was hoping for, and I cannot wait to start using it. So definitely put this on your Hermes radar if you're looking to, whether you're looking to start your Hermes home collection now, or if you've been around the block and you've been doing this for a while, but you're looking for something new, something a little bit more special, something different, this is something that you have to check out. If I can find any details, if I can find the name and the size, I will make sure to leave those in the comment section down below, just so you have an easier time actually requesting this. And since we're on the topic of tableware, let's do this piece next, which is not something that I actually bought myself. It's something that was really kindly gifted to me for my birthday. My birthday is coming up later this month, so it was an early birthday gift. I'm a Leo, in case you couldn't guess. And it's something that I love. I already have a couple of these in my collection, and I'm really happy to have now another one, which is from my beloved Soleil d'Hermes collection. So these are the mugs that I have been using every single day to drink my tea, and now I have another one. As you can see, this one is slightly different from the ones that I already have because they do two different mugs. I think 2 or 3 different mugs. There are definitely 2 different options, but there might be a third one too. These are the 2 different prints. I think this is print number 1, and then this is called print number 2. Both of the mugs that I have are in this print, in print number 2. And then there is obviously the option for this one, which feels a lot more uniform and a little bit more busy, I would say, compared to this, but they're both beautiful. What I love about these mugs is that obviously they bring a little bit of sunshine into your home. I'm not big on colors, so I love having just little specks of color here and there. And what makes them really user friendly is that they're actually dishwasher safe, so you can use them, enjoy them, and then instead of having to wash them by hand every single time, you can put them in the dishwasher at the end of the day. And I have to say, they do come out looking brand new, so I have been incredibly happy with these pieces, and they have made me quite lazy because I haven't been reaching for any of my mosaic pieces since these are just so much easier to use. Okay, I think it's time to move on to Goyard, which is a brand that I haven't really talked about that much, even though it's a brand that I do get questions on every now and again. So I have considered doing a deep dive on Goyard. If it's something that you would like to see from me, let me know in the comment section or give this video a thumbs up. I would be more than happy to share with you my thoughts on the brand. I am not an expert. I have only ever purchased a couple of things from them, but I do have a pretty good understanding of the brand, and there are things that I love and things that I don't like quite as much. Now, this next piece I didn't actually buy myself. It's something that was really kindly purchased by Pai's other dad, also known as my ex. He was in Paris, so I did ask him to pick this up for Pai because Goyard is not a brand that you can buy online or you can buy remotely. They only have, I think, something like 20-25 boutiques around the world, and they only sell pieces in stores. So since he was in Paris, I did ask him to pick up this piece for Pai. And if you didn't notice, Goyard actually has a dedicated pet store in Paris. They do have, I think, a couple of different Goyard boutiques, but they have one that exclusively sells their pet collection, which I was really surprised by because they really don't have that expansive of a range of pet pieces, but they do have a dedicated boutique. So if you're looking to treat your fur baby, you don't actually have to wait in line to get into an actual Goyard store. You can just go straight to their designated pet store. But without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this piece, which is something that I am pretty sure I talked about in a recent video of mine. If you've been with me for a while, or at least since I got Pai, you know that I did buy Pai the Hermes color even before I got him, which I have to be honest, I have been really disappointed in almost everything that I bought for him from Hermes. The quality has just been really underwhelming for the price. So I have really high hopes for Goyard, and I do hope that it will work out a little better. And I did mention that I have been looking to upgrade his Hermes color, and this is the piece that I'm going to be doing it with. So you already know that there is a color in here, but I think the color will surprise you because it's kind of unexpected, at least unexpected from me, but I think it's going to look adorable on Pai. So let me unbox this. So the box, first of all, looks, I mean, this packaging is just divine. And let me show you Pai's proper adult color, because the one that he has from Hermes, it's time to retire, even though it's in the largest size in quite a robust leather. I really don't think that Hermes' pet pieces were made for proper larger dogs. Even though they do have the sizes, I really don't think that they were made to withstand everything that a baby lion will put their pieces through. Obviously, he swims, he runs around in the forest, he rolls around in the mud. So the color could just not keep up with him. Even though I tried my best to look after it, it was just time for an upgrade. So we ended up going for the so-called Frank color, which Goyard does do different styles of color depending on the size of your dog, but in pie size, this is the only one that they offer, which is the thickest, most robust color that they do. And the color I ended up asking for is this beautiful, light, but incredibly saturated blue shade, which they do offer this color across the board. So if you want to know the shade name, I'll leave it up on the screen here because I can't remember what Goyard calls this color. But speaking of color, it's good to keep in mind that now all of Goyard's colors are the exact same price. Back in the day when I first started buying Goyard, when you wanted to buy a piece, it was a different price in black and brown than it was in all the other colors, whereas now every single color is the same price across the board. So it doesn't matter if you buy a bag in black or yellow, they're going to be the same price, and the same goes for colors. So it's just something that I thought were worth mentioning. And one more thing that I wanted to point out is that these colors don't actually come with a name tag, unlike the Hermes colors. You can buy tags directly from Goyard, but there's really nothing special about them, and they take somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks to be engraved. So I thought it's just something that I can get from one of my local pet stores. So that's something that I have to do before I put this on pie, but I honestly cannot be any more excited to finally upgrade his little collar. And last but not least, let me quickly show you the first pieces that I picked up from the current fall-winter 2023 collection from Hermes, which has officially started hitting stores. When it comes to ready-to-wear, they'll usually start with their commercial pieces, and they slowly move on to launching their runway pieces. Now, commercial pieces are usually things that are either covered in prints, things like t-shirts, or pieces that have an obvious H-inspired pattern to them, anything that is a little bit more in your face. And then runway pieces, obviously as the name suggests, are things that you saw on the runway or some sort of an interpretation of those pieces. Now, I did order 2 looks from the runway, which are yet to arrive. I'm not sure when and if they'll ever hit my local boutique, but when they do, you guys will be the first to know. So I did end up picking up something from the commercial line, something that they brought back for the current season from last year, and it's something that I did look at last year and I was incredibly tempted by, so much so that I did share a picture on my Instagram, but I never ended up picking up because I was hoping that eventually they would do it in black. And lo and behold, they are doing it in black for the current season. And I have to be honest, I have worn this piece already. In fact, I have already shared a picture of this on my Instagram, but I did film me unboxing it when I first got it home, just so you get the true experience. And I just put it back in its bag, but I could not wait. I was so excited to have this piece because I pretty much waited to get this for an entire year. So let me show you. The piece that I ended up picking up is their so-called long sleeve sweater, which, looking at this, you would probably think that it is genuinely just a plain old long sleeve sweater in black, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with. It's very much on brand for me to buy a black sweater every single season, but there is something special about this piece, and I will do a ton of mod shots for you to show you what the silhouette looks like. It's actually quite a crop sweater, which is the first thing that I loved about it, yet there is quite a bit of volume to the body of the piece. So I love the fact that it was really nicely balanced. It has these exaggerated sleeves, it has a more oversized body, yet it is quite cropped, which I think is just the perfect balance. And I think the reason a lot of people will love this is because it is reversible, which you would think is a great deal because you get a 2-in-1. But this piece being reversible is also reflected in the price. So you can get this, I think last season they did it in 2 different colors. They did it in beige and navy, which is why I didn't buy it. And then for the current season, I've seen it in black. Obviously, they're doing it in orange, in more of a reddish orange. And then they're also doing it in saffron yellow. All of them are reversible. So on the inside, they do have the so-called Ush on bias print, which in black is quite subtle, but I have to be honest, in red, in beige, in navy, and even in yellow is a little bit more obvious. Personally, the reason, the detail that got me hooked wasn't the reversible lining, but it was these two visible bands on the outside. So you have one on the front, and then you also have one on the back, which is what I call the spine detail, which is quite reminiscent to what the Ro does on their knitwear and Rick Owens. And if you know me, you know that those are two brands that I am really quite obsessed with. So for me, it wasn't that this piece is reversible that helped justify the price. It was the incredibly unique silhouette and these tiny little details. And I'm not saying that this piece is inexpensive, because it is honestly ridiculously expensive for what you get, but I just simply couldn't leave it there, because I love a crop sweater. I love a black sweater that has a little twist to it, and these band details are something that I just adore. And interestingly, last season they actually had one single band on the back, but they had two in the front, which I'm glad that they have changed it to one, because it does make it a lot more neat. But other than the colors and these band details, they also changed the fabric. So last season the sweater was made of, I think it was almost 90% cashmere and 10% cotton, something along those lines, whereas this season this is almost, I think it's 88% virgin wool, and then the rest is cashmere. So it is a slightly different fabric. Not slightly, it is a completely different fabric, but honestly it feels just as soft as it did last season. And I'm hoping that now that it's made of wool, it's going to be a little bit easier to look after. But honestly, I could not be any happier with this purchase, because it's so rare for Hermes to do a classic, simple, staple design in black. And if you do love the reverse side, if you love the Ush unbiased print, all you have to do is cut out the label from the back, and then there's also the fabric label or care label, whatever you call it, on the side here, but it is really gently stitched in there, so I think you would have a really easy time getting rid of these. I think I am going to mainly wear it on the solid side, but since the Ush unbiased print is quite subtle because it is tone on tone, I might play around with that too. But honestly, this is a sweater that I know I will get a ton of wear out of. So if you are as much of a knitwear person as I am, please do look into this sweater. It's not inexpensive. In fact, it's quite the opposite, but it is just such an incredibly unique design without it looking overdone. I think there is something incredibly special yet understated about this. So I left unboxing this piece to the end because it is really quite embarrassing. This is something that I bought last season and I forgot that I returned them. I returned them because they didn't fit. We were supposed to order them in half a size smaller, but when I returned them, my advisor wasn't available, so I completely forgot about getting them, and it was only a couple of weeks ago when I needed them for a video for you guys that I realized that I never actually ended up repurchasing them. So when I was at Hermes picking up the sweater and my other pieces, I ended up getting them. Even though they've gone up in price quite a bit, I think they went up like 70, 80 euros. They're that much more expensive this season than they were last season. But thankfully, they are still doing them. They are doing them in similar colors, which, let me just show you what these are. I think you will remember them. I did end up buying the fresh boots all over again from Hermes. So last season, I did buy these in 42, which were slightly too big. So I had to get them in a 41.5, which I already knew last year. I went back to return them in 42. And I just never had the chance to buy them in 41.5, which I am so mad at myself for not doing it then, because I could have saved, as I said, like 70 or 80 euros, but you live and you learn, I guess. So I'm incredibly happy to get these. They are really, really simple design, but I wanted to get them because I know I get a ton of wear out of these pieces in the full winter when I take Pi on walks or when I need to go out in the rain or snow. They are made of a water repellent nylon and the soles are rubber. They do feel quite comfortable, but I have to be honest, they are really bare on the inside. Like there isn't any padding, they are not stuffed with anything. Stuffed, I meaning there isn't any lining to it. So it's really up to you to make them comfortable. You can definitely buy an insole or wear them with really, really chunky cashmere or wool socks. Otherwise, They are just kind of bare, but I love the design. I loved the simple logo here. I love the colorful laces. So I just felt like it was a great staple that I would get a ton of wear out of. And they are doing them for this season. I think they're doing them in black, obviously. Last season they did them in orange for men and then in like a khaki color. I think they kept the khaki, they kept the black. I don't think they're doing them in orange. Instead, they're doing them in like a beigey sort of a taupe color, which I also quite like, but you know that I'm partial to black. And then they have also brought these back for women in black, white, and like a caramel toffee color, but the design is slightly different. For women, they made them a little bit taller and they also added some quilting, but they do still offer these for women too. So if you're looking for a really basic, not a basic design, but a great basic piece, a fundamental piece to have in your collection, something that you know you can rely on in the fall and winter, do consider getting them. Again, keep in mind that on the inside they're quite bare, so I don't think that they would keep you that warm, but you can definitely pair these with a heavy chunky pair of knitted cashmere or wool socks, or you can also buy those shearling insoles for these, which if you live in a really cold climate you might need. But other than that, these are just a great staple piece to have, and I did have to get them in half a size down, 41.5. So yeah, these are definitely a great fall winter staple to put on your radar. And my friends, this completes today's Hermes haul. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on these pieces. And let me know in the comment section what was your last Hermes purchase or what's going to be next. I'm going to go and edit this video really quick because I have to pack and then I'm leaving on a trip tomorrow morning. But I really appreciate you being here and watching. I hope you're having an amazing weekend. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And I hope to see you back here with a new video, which I'm hoping is going to be a shopping vlog really, really soon.